Hello, everybody. This is your Virginia Cavaliers North Carolina ACC tournament tale of the tape.
You are Locked On Virginia, your daily podcast on the Virginia Cavaliers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good day, viewers and listeners. I am your host, Big Law Lawrence Johnson, and welcome to the Locked On Virginia Cavaliers podcast, your first place to come to get your daily Wahoo fix as part of the Locked On Podcast Network. So, yes, everybody, this is it. We are finally here for the big tournament, or excuse me, the ACC tournament, which is still a big tournament. But, for me, me watching this North Carolina team kind of gives me uh, some flashbacks, of what they could be. And one of the reasons why we lost is they actually have a ton of talent that finally is kind of showing through. If you remember us, when we played them, of course, we were in our slump playing some terrible basketball. But for right now, the way that I see North Carolina, I mean, they beat Boston College handedly. They wind up beating Boston College 85-61. Now, typically, I would be, a little more even on it. I wouldn't necessarily worry about, what I see. But right now, what I see from North Carolina is they are definitely kind of hitting their stride. R.J. Davis, Caleb Love, one had 18 points, the other one had 22. Those guards are heating up. Which, when you got tournament play, that's typically how your team typically goes. How good your guards play, and these guards are playing really good right now. And you saw Boston College. It looks like they just ran out of steam. The magic fairy dust has finally worn off for them, and they kind of just fell back. And you could see that if you watched that game. I watched it. Excuse me. I watched it, and I was like, well, I was thinking Quentin Post could come in. They're the Boston College big man, making a difference, in the middle for them. It really didn't matter. Pete Nance, Armando Bacot, before he got hurt, we're just doing a good job down low, rebounding, defending the rim. So, then of course they got Leaky Black, of course, play his top defense that he plays. So I'm thinking that this team is really going to be trouble for us Wahoos tomorrow, or excuse me, tonight. The game is tonight, 7 p.m. ESPN quarterfinal ACC tournament. UVA 23-6, North Carolina 20-12. Another fact is that North Carolina is playing for their lives, so they're backed into a corner right now. And you know what that saying is: when you have, an animal backed into a corner, that's the worst time, to approach an animal when they feel cornered. And this is a corner, an animal backed into a corner with the sharpest claws, the sharpest teeth. Okay, the it's strong as any team in college basketball. Remember, this is pretty much the same team outside of Brady Manick that went to the NCAA championship game last year. So it's more like, well, you know, maybe they're finding themselves, and this is not a good time to be playing them. I was just hoping that, almost like a sleeping giant, that this sleeping giant would not wake up, and it seems like they may be coming out of their slumber to to greet us. And if they do, I mean, I just hope that we're playing our best defense We need to continue to, work, or we actually went back to our offensive, a lot more of the mover blocker type of an offense. Lots of picking, screening. Moved a little bit farther away from that triangle offense that Coach Bennett and the team have been running. This is it, guys. From a championship standpoint, ACC championship, could we win it? Sure. But we have some real obstacles to overcome tonight. North Carolina, they need to win this game and possibly the next game to secure a bid for the March Madness tournament. I don't know if they get in if they lose to us tonight. Of course, this game for UVA, is big because it kind of, number one, solidifies, what Coach Tony Bennett always preaches, which is, you're going to go through different challenges during the season. The beginning part of the season naturally is not like the ending part of the season, but we had 4 to 5 different storylines, different narratives going on with this team. This is not the same team. A lot of the responsibilities have changed. A lot of the youngsters that are on the team have grown up. So this is definitely a time and a season and an opportunity for Coach Bennett to, number one, just continue to solidify his greatness. UVA is going for this will be their fourth opportunity or fourth ACC title if they can win it. They only have 3, and it seems like they have won the tournament more, but they've only won it 3 times. So hopefully they can get this fourth tournament. But before they get to that, they have a buzzsaw of a North Carolina team who seems to me like that they've waken up. But there is a glimmer of hope in an unfortunate way. But before we get into that glimmer of hope, the midway point of the NBA season is here, and now is a perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel app, sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from money line to point scores and threes drained. You can also get on with the NBA. Use it to bet on the NBA. You can include core markets, spreads, money line, total points, player props, player points, rebounds, etc., assistant, etc. And so many exclusive bets like 2 times 3. 2 3-pointers scored in the first 3 minutes. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance for a bigger payout with the same game parlay. So don't miss out on a chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/locked on. That's FanDuel.com/locked on to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official betting partner of the NBA. Thanks again for making Locked On Virginia your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, hear from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. So, yeah, everyone, as I was saying, I'm feeling a little uneasy about this game that we're about to go into. Carolina, it looks like they got themselves back in rhythm, blowing out Boston College. I thought Boston College was going to give them a little bit more of a game. By the end of their game, North Carolina, their starters were sitting. Of course, we need, every advantage that we can get at this time. Of course, we're not out of the weeds ourselves as how we played, and we're still rebuilding our confidence, I feel, after a win against Clemson and a win against Louisville. So right now, if uh, if North Carolina is playing their game, remember their guards um, against our guards. We have our two guards, which are Reese Beekman and Kihei Clark, all defense. Okay, all defense. I mean, the all defensive team for the ACC against their guards, which are two very good guards. You're talking R.J. Davis and Caleb Love. That's where the game's going to be won and lost, just in my opinion. But I was talking about something positive for our team in an unfortunate way, and what that was Armando Bacot twisted his ankle, the same ankle that he had an issue with um, before they played us, or right when they played us. He twisted his ankle, and he was pretty much taken off the court after like the first few minutes of the game. So where are we with that? I know he said that he'll be ready to go, or he's ready to go. From some reporters, when they interviewed him about his injury, you know, that alone can get you kicked, not or can diminish your team enough to where you could lose out of the tournament. Now, let's not forget the one player who, in my opinion, single-handedly beat us. A team usually beats us, but the way that this player played really gave this team a boost and enabled them to push their lead further, and his defense really stopped us at the rim quite a bit. And I'm talking about Pete Nance. If you remember last time we played, Pete Nance shot 4 for 4 from 3-point range at one time. Wound up with 22 points, I believe, and had 4 blocks and changed a lot more shots. Maybe he changed about 4 shots, blocked 4 shots, responsible for that's like 8 shots that possibly could have made, because a lot of the shots he was blocking and changing were close shots. So but Pete Nance is the one who really who's given us trouble. The transfer in from Northwestern. Remember, Pete Nance is also the son of Larry Nance, and it's just a long pedigree of long, athletic, talented players, and he's the next generation of Nance basketball players who's making a difference. At the University of North Carolina. Now, for me, I'm thinking that we got to make our shots. We have got to make our outside shots. I don't necessarily see us driving to the bucket. I just don't feel like we are we're totally back yet. Yes, we won our last 2 games against Clemson and against Louisville. Now, I think that we're still rebuilding our confidence, but I don't think that we're back the way that we need to be back. I'm thinking that we need to figure out where exactly most of our scoring is going to come from. Playing a North Carolina team. Usually, playing a team with this amount of talent, or this amount of this amount of talent to try to play against. Usually, your unsung heroes are the ones that need to step up. Sure, we have Reese Beekman, K.A. Clark, Amon Franklin, Jaden Gardner, IMAC, are guys who can score. But a lot of times the difference makers will come from out of nowhere, players you're not expecting. Maybe is there a Ryan Dunn sighting? Maybe does Ryan Dunn, who in my opinion can match the athleticism on that North Carolina squad. A guy like they have a player named Puff Johnson, athletic big man. They have Leaky Black, athletic, another athletic wing player. You know, the player that we have, in my opinion, that I feel could possibly make a huge difference, and not just on defense. Usually, Ryan Dunn is making an incredible change on defense, or making a difference on defense. Could it be offense? Could he get to the rim? Could he finish above the rim like he always has against North Carolina? That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an unsung hero, and I don't know where it is. Maybe the unsung hero is Isaac McNeely, our sharp shooting 3-point true freshman. Could he be the one to step up? And the reason why I'm saying is because usually when you're in these games where it's a do or die, me or you kind of a situation, the starters a lot of time they cancel each other. They cancel themselves out. They'll cancel each other out. And if they do that, a lot of times, it's going to be down like to the battle of the backups or the battle of like an X factor or somebody who you don't necessarily expect to get some offense from. For them last time, of course, it was Pete Nance. Pete Nance shoots 4 for 4 from 3, and but he does block shots. He does protect the rim, and he's always done that. So that's not anything new. But shooting the 4 for 4 is definitely a big deal. And the thing about it is, I've said it before. Whenever UVA is out here playing against teams, you always get the best game from some player that is feeling like, all right, I know this defense is tough. I'm gonna crack the code, and they go out and they play lights out of their mind. We always get their team's offensive best game, when we're not expecting it, and it's usually somebody shooting from deep that that you probably are thinking, all right, we should be able to lock them up, but this is gonna be big, guys. This is gonna be absolutely large. We need Kihei Clark and uh, Reese Beekman to continue to be as dominant as they can be on the outsides. Uh, I'm like I said, I'm very uneasy about this game. When I was watching that game last night, and I'm just looking, I'm like, man, I said North Carolina is looking good. I said they're kind of giving me those vibes that they gave me last year when they went on their run. But that ankle of Armando Bacot, for them to advance, and to get back to where they were, it's gonna come down to, really, in my opinion, him contributing down low. Once he gets settled, you're not moving him. The guy's an incredible rebounder, and then of course scoring down low, he's an absolute beast or an animal. Make sure, be sure to keep a lookout on the scores table, because I can see Big Poppy coming in early and often. We talk about injuries and Armando Bacot having an ankle injury. How about our guy, Bennett Vanderplas? He also has an injury. Our big man, and maybe Tony is starting him just to get him loosened up, to get him playing, because with those back injuries, you never know, they're very temperamental. But how about our guy, uh, Big Poppy? Let's get Big Poppy in the game. Let's kind of see what he does, and where he can go against some of these inside players of North Carolina. Let's get Caden in there as well. The athleticism that Caden has, he's still needed. So hopefully we can, utilize both of these guys and kind of see where we get to with this. But, I'm going to give you guys a prediction in a little bit here. But before I give you my prediction, we got to thank you guys again for making Locked On Virginia your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place, plus hear from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. But yes, the big game, no, and don't forget, UVA is, I think right now, they're a number 4 seed in the NCAA March Madness tournament right now. They're trying to hold on to that. If they win the tournament, maybe they could creep up to a 3 seed. But they're trying to hold on to that 4th seed. If they lose in this tournament, they could fall to a 5th seed. And that ugly 5-12 matchup that you see a lot of upsets, in the NCAA tournament, that 5-12 game, I don't like that. So let's just be cool. Let's see where we go from here, guys. I don't know if we're going to. I don't know. I'm not sure. The guys have been resting. I haven't heard anything about any injuries or anything else other than Ben Vanderplas having a little bit of a back issue. He has to go. He has to go to the bench, and he puts that warm wrap around him to keep his back warm. But I haven't heard anything about the guys not being confident and not ready to go. So 7:00, man, which means they're probably going to tip off at 7:10 or 7:15. That's typically how it goes, for these tournament games. They're always running over, so the next game gets a little bit of a delay. So I have a Chesapeake Sports Club banquet tonight, so I'll be at that. But I have to rush home. I got to get home to cover the UVA game as well. So busy day for me today, guys. Busy day, and I'll be doing a post game as well. Hopefully, it's a good post game. It's not a bad one, and we can rejoice and get ready for the next game after that, which is Saturday, which should be another opportunity to have another big game. With UVA stepping out and trying to secure their 4th tournament victory. So, in other news, quickly, of course, Jim Boeheim retires. One of the GOATs, one of the most decorated, coaches in history. Been at Syracuse for, what was that, 20, was it 50 years? My goodness, yeah, he's almost 50 or over 50 years of service. 50 years of service there. Jim Boeheim, but just an odd. He's always been an odd guy, but there's no denying his coaching acumen. But Jim Boeheim retiring, and I really wonder, uh, you know, what is to become of Syracuse. You think about Duke when Coach K retired. I think the jury's out on Shire, the coach at Duke, but what are some incredible shoes to fill at Syracuse as well. So we'll see where this goes with that. But I'm excited for the game, nervously cautious, but let's see how it goes. 7 p.m. ESPN tonight. Get set, get ready. Let's go, Wahoos. Let's go. Thank you again for making Locked On Virginia your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, hear from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast.